Well, hey guys, thanks for tuning into the channel. I am on a beautiful ride out today, and the sun is shining. It's right at the beginning of spring, and had the opportunity to bring out a 2016 BMW F800GT, which unfortunately they don't make anymore. But this particular one is a really nice version. I'm out on a nice ride here with my daughter, and we're out here on the plains of South Dakota. In fact, near the only mountain in South Dakota, which they call a butte, but it's actually not a butte. The plaques around here actually say it's a mountain. But Bear Butte State Park here, and you can see here, I'll turn around behind me, that's actually what they say is Bear Butte, but it's actually a mountain because the top of it isn't flat. But anyway, enough about that. Let's get into the motorcycle. This is actually a parallel twin, kind of a sport touring bike with removable side cases, and it's actually a really nice ride. I'm actually kind of surprised at how well it does on highway speeds, because going about 75, 80 on the interstate, which is kind of the speed here in South Dakota, it's turning about 4,500 RPM, which for a motorcycle like my motorcycle right now is a Suzuki SV 650. And going that speed, it's turning closer to 6,000. So this definitely is geared more appropriately for interstate traveling. It doesn't have as much wind protection as some of the other touring bikes, but it's a little bit more spirited. It's a little bit more of an aggressive riding position. It's not totally a sport bike position, but you're kind of in the middle between, say, an adventure bike riding position and or a full touring bike, sort of something like a 1200 RT, 1250 RT, let's say like a 1200 Sprint by Triumph, or something in that ballpark. The riding position is definitely different. This one is a little bit of a, in that realm, sort of like the Tracer 9 GT the Yamaha makes now. So sort of in that mid-size engine range. And again, this is a parallel twin. And this one is actually really quiet. It's really nice to ride. It is geared fairly tall to give you that top end speed ability at a little bit lower RPM. So you do have to give it a little bit more to get it moving, but it actually has pretty low end power. I'm kind of surprised. I had it in top gear, 6th, and I let it go down to about 2,000 RPM and just rolled on the throttle, and it pulled really well. So it's actually a really responsive bike. This particular one has about 42,000 miles on it, has been serviced well, so it's been taken care of. And I do want to give a thank you, shout out to Sturgis Motorsports for letting me bring it out today. It's definitely not something they have to do, but they let me do, so I am very appreciative of them. And this one is for sale at Sturgis Motorsports. And I'm gonna get onto the walk around, start it up, let you hear it, and let's get into the bike. Thank you. And this is the BMW F800GT. You can see this one is, I think they call it a monolith gray, something like that, as far as the color goes. But this one is in really nice shape. One of the few BMWs that are belt drive, because BMW doesn't do belt drive anymore. You can see that down here. And it's a pretty big rear, I don't know if you call it a gear when it's a belt drive, but it's pretty good size. But it's, you can see just the way BMW does their motorcycles. They think through things a little bit differently. This one even has an adjustable shock, which you can see the knob there. And you fill the fuel up right there. It is not up in front of the rider like a lot of bikes. This one's in the rear to help distribute weight a little bit better. But you can see this one is in really nice shape. This one is equipped with Brembo brakes. You can see the caliper there with the large dual discs. You can see it through the wheel there. And then you've got definite wind protection. It's not super tall, and there are options for taller windscreens. Of course, then you sort of take away from the look of the bike. But this one does pretty well. It Had a few vehicles pass me out here in the plains, and you feel the wind, but it's not crazy, but you do notice it. And these side bags do come off, and I did check because I was wondering, well, is a helmet actually going to fit in one of these? Because it's sort of a bummer to have side cases and then a helmet not fit. That's part of the reason you want them. Now this side, the right side of the bike, you can, and with the way these work, you hit the gray, you can see the gray open, that's to open it and it will release. And I put my helmet in there just so we could see it does fit. And you can strap things in there, do groceries. Nice thing about these too is it has a lip on there so things don't just fall out, which is a nice plus. Some of the European side cases on a lot of the bikes don't have that, and you open it and then everything just falls out, which is kind of annoying. This one is pretty quiet, and it also has that single-sided swing arm, which I think BMW calls it a paralever swing arm, so it makes servicing the tire a whole lot easier and simpler. And on this side, unfortunately, a helmet does not fit because you can see the exhaust pipe or the muffler there takes up a little bit of space, but it's still pretty good size, but you can't get a helmet in there, or at least not my helmet. I tried, it didn't work. Let's open this up here, and one-handed actuation on that's a little bit harder, but there, get that open. It's still pretty good size, but you can see there's a little bit of a curve back there, which makes it so it doesn't have quite as much volume, but it's still pretty good. And they do fully come off. You do have to have the key, and once you release it here, you lift this up and the whole bag actually removes from the bike. So you do have that option. In fact, with this rack too, they do have a top case you can add that is available. Nice thing on this with the way the rack is, it has integrated handles or a grip location, so that way if you have a passenger, they have a place to grab if they don't want to hug the rider. And here you can see there's the exhaust. This is down shifter. The shift position is actually pretty good, and this one is equipped with a center stand. You can see it down there, which is a really nice thing for parking, serviceability, that sort of thing. And then up here you can see the controls. Being in 2016, you still have some analog, combination of analog and digital display here. So you get the full speedometer, tach, analog, and then it has something that shows you the gears there, the N for neutral, your miles, clock, fuel gauge, temp gauge, and it's got the basics. It functions well. This one actually does have heated grips, which you can see here, heated grips button, which is a nice thing. The one thing I wish this bike did have is cruise, because it just doesn't have that. It does have flashers. This one does have selectable suspension modes, which is kind of cool. And then your headlight trigger switch there. It is a 6-speed, and then I'm going to fire it up here, and you can hear it. And it's pretty quiet. I mean, this is the full stock exhaust system. Has not been modified in any way, but I'll rev it up a little bit here and you can hear what it sounds like. It's not terribly impressive being just the factory system, but here it is. It does have ABS as well. And it has traction control too. So it's a pretty well-equipped bike considering what it is. 2016 BMW F800GT. Really nice version. Even sportier with those side cases off, but the side cases give it that functionality that's really nice, especially if you're going to go on a longer trip or you got to run and get some groceries. So that is the motorcycle in a nutshell. I was gonna try to get some ride footage in, but I can't find my mounts. It vanished on me for some reason, but it will be in future videos. I do appreciate you watching, and I'm gonna end. You can see this incredible view of the plains out here in South Dakota, and have a wonderful day. Be blessed. I appreciate you watching.